Hello, my fellow Ripplers. This is Chris Miles, your cash flow expert and anti-financial advisor. Welcome to our show that's for you and about you. Those of you that work so hard for your money and you're ready for your money, start working harder for you right now. You want that freedom and cash flow today, not 30 or 40 years from now, if you're lucky, but right now, so you can live that life that you love with those you love. But most importantly, guys, it's not just about being rich. It's about creating a rich life, because as you're blessed financially, you have a greater capacity to bless the lives of others. Guys, thank you so much for joining in today. I appreciate you guys always tuning in. You guys have been sharing it with other people. You guys have been binging on these episodes. And I appreciate so much that you guys are not just listening to these podcasts, but actually taking action on them. And thank you so much for those that have reached out to us. Many of you have had questions, whether it be about infinite banking or if it's been about, hey, how do we create passive income? Appreciate you guys reaching out, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to serve you and create that ripple effect through the lives of others. And you are definitely one of those people. So thank you so much for doing that. And we challenge you to continue to do so.
Chris Miles was able to retire twice by the time he was 39 years old. But he's not content to just enjoy his own financial freedom and peace of mind. Chris wants you to have your own ripple effect so you can live free today. He's not the financial advisor you expected. He's the anti-financial advisor you deserve. He's jumping behind the mic right now, ready to make waves. Here's Chris Miles.
So today I've got a special guest. I've got Craig Feldmeier here. Now, Craig, I've had him on before, but again, if you guys have just started binging in our episodes, you're probably gonna have to go 100 episodes or so back to hear his last interview. But I want to bring Craig on because Craig is someone special here at Money Ripples, because he is the guy that when you guys say, hey, I want to know like how we work together, how do we create this game plan, this anti-financial plan, so to speak, right? How do we really map this out so we can know how to get out of the rat race quickly and safely? You know, what are the options we have? What kind of investments can we do? Where can we get our money working for us so we can be work optional? Well, that's exactly what Craig does. He is the coach for Money Ripples. He's the guy that's getting our clients some amazing results right now, including some of them that we've mentioned here recently. Even when we did a case study webinar recently, many of those clients are actually Craig's. And so I wanted to bring him on just so you guys can get to know him a little bit better, because you always get this guy. I'm sorry, this is the face you get every time you pull up these episodes, but I at least wanted to bring it up and mix it up a little bit by bringing Craig on with us. So Craig, welcome back.
Hey, thanks, Chris. Yeah, it's been a while. It's probably about a year and a half since I was on the podcast previously, and it's good to be back and speaking to everybody.
Yeah, if it's been a year and a half, that means it's probably been about 140, 150 episodes ago, huh?
Yeah.
So you were probably somewhere episode 400 or something like that.
I know. Let's go back to the
way
archives.
back when. So tell us, for those, of course, that haven't gone back 150 episodes, tell us more about you, your background, where you came from, and what got you to where you are today.
Sure. Yeah, I like probably many of your listeners, came from a classic kind of corporate background. I used to work on Wall Street for about 10 years, really kind of grinded away. And did, pretty much the traditional things that, we're quote unquote supposed to do: stock money away in a 401k, put money, into brokerage accounts, invest in the stock market. Pretty much exactly what I was doing. Accumulating assets was kind of the goal, right? And never really thought about what those assets were giving me, right? Never, you
Right.
just hear, okay, automate and forget about it. Which is nice because it is, some forced savings. So anyone who's out there listening, feel good that if you do have money in a 401k, money in the stock market, it's better than, not having anything at all. So that's one good thing, I think to point out. But, I really, had a couple epiphanies, especially I was, helping the ultra wealthy manage money. And I was really kind of thinking, wow, if they can generate, say $10,000 a month on a $5 million portfolio, how am I ever going to get there? Because, while $10,000 is a lot of money, it's definitely, you're not living large on 10 grand a month in middle America, especially with inflation. So I really had a couple light bulb moments. And I actually came across your podcast probably back, I want to say in early 2017, maybe late 2016.
Mm.
and really had a couple light bulb moments, as I'm sure many other listeners have had listening to, you speak about, abundance mindset, hearing a lot of your guests come on, talking about cash flowing investments. And then, you and I had a couple conversations. I was actually a former client of yours. You really helped me with a lot of mindset shifts around money. I knew from a technical perspective, the quote unquote right things to do, but was really living in scarcity, which I
Mhm.
think a lot of people who are kind of asset gatherers don't realize. But when you accumulate assets, it's all about, okay, I need to reduce my expenses. I'm going to have to live off of this nest egg. Not a lot of people really give thought to how they're going to draw on their nest egg in retirement. Is it going to last them? If the stock market takes a dive, you're drawing assets on a much smaller pool of capital. So those are the things I started to think through. And then as you and I started working together more, I started building my own cash flow producing portfolio, really kind of saw the power of getting, monthly income, and really kind of that being the key to getting out of the rat race into achieving financial freedom.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the one thing I love is that, I mean, you actually live what you preach, which
Hmm.
is kind of a requirement here.
Right.
We don't want a bunch of philosophers. We want people that actually have practical experience. And you kind of like me, you've had experience on both sides of the fence, right? You've been on the Wall Street side and you've seen what happens when someone who's a multimillionaire trying to live barely a middle-class lifestyle, which sadly 10,000 a month is becoming right about the middle of a middle-class lifestyle,
Hmm.
which I never
Yeah,
thought
it's
I'd
true.
ever say, but it's kind of become the case, where middle class goes all the way up to $250,000 a year or so, and starts right around 60,000 a year, give or take. So to see you be able to make that transition like I did to say, wait, maybe there's something more here, and then actually do it and apply it in your own life. So then you've seen both sides. You've seen the good and the bad on the traditional financial side, and you've seen what's possible on our side of the fence. It's really cool to get that breadth of experience that most people just don't have.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's nice to kind of be able to compare and contrast different styles of investing.
Mhm.
We obviously like, alternative assets, cash flow producing investments, and kind of live and breathe what we teach.
Yeah. What's the thing that drives you personally? Like what's kind of your big vision for your life and your why behind everything you do?
I really think you hit the nail on the head when you say, we want our clients to work because they want to, not because they have to.
Hmm.
And I think that's really kind of the why that drives, me and my wife as well.
Hmm.
Really trying to, reach certain financial freedom goals because we want the ability to give back and to do work that's meaningful to us, and not work that's really kind of trapping us in a cubicle, for 50
Hmm.
hours a week. And so I think now we're really kind of in the cash flow growing mode. I've hit a few milestones that I'm really happy about. Still trying to build up my passive cash flow to I have a pretty large target and a pretty lofty goal
Hmm.
that I'm personally trying to hit. But I think once you kind of start to educate yourself, you get experience and education on how different investments work and operate. It really kind of gives you, a lot of freedom, even if you're still in your, call it corporate job. Once you start to generate a few $1,000s a month in cash flow, it really gives you a lot more peace of mind when you are in your in your job or your career. Because if you really had to, you could say, hey, if you got a new boss, if they, want you to move or travel and you don't want to do that, you can tell, you can say, I quit, I don't need this anymore. And I think
Hmm.
even getting to that point, even if you haven't reached your ultimate passive income goal, is very empowering, and can give people a lot of freedom to kind of do what they want to do. Because the worst thing is being stuck in a job where you just feel like you're trapped, right? Even if you
Hmm.
have a nice, high paying six-figure job, if your expenses and lifestyle are eating away, all of your surplus cash flow, um, then you're really just kind of living paycheck to paycheck. And it's really kind of empowering to me to help people, get out of that rat race and really kind of help them, reach a certain level of financial freedom. Because I think once money is no longer a stressor, no longer an issue, that really
Hmm.
opens up just so many other pathways you can take in your life.
I agree. Absolutely. What do you feel is kind of like your superpower?
Wow, it's a good question. I think I am very I can relate to a lot of different people
Mhm.
in a lot of different scenarios because I've been in client service my entire life, so I've worked with ultra wealthy people that have net worths over $100 million, and I've worked with people who are in a lot of credit card debt. And
Mhm.
I understand that people at every different level of wealth have their own struggles and their own issues. And I can be very sympathetic and understanding to a lot of issues different people face in understanding, what they need to do in order to, relieve some stress in order to hit their goals.
Yeah.
Because everyone has problems, everyone has stresses. Doesn't matter how much money you have. What I
Mhm.
like to do is really get to know, the client or the person on an individual level. Understand what they're going through. And I think most people just get overwhelmed with their current situations. And what we do at Money Ripples, and what I am particularly good at, is really helping people create a customized plan for them in
Yeah.
order to achieve their goals. Because even across, our clients, it's amazing how different people's goals actually are.
Mhm. It's not just a numbers game, is it?
Exactly. It's very, I mean, different people, whether you're just starting out, whether you're trying to head into retirement, it's really kind of, it's so individualistic in terms of what people are trying to do. And, that's the point, there's never a one size fits all type
Mhm.
of, way to design a portfolio, way to think through risk and investment objectives. It's so individualized to each type of client. And I really enjoy, I'm very extroverted. So I really like to, not only help clients, but build personal relationships with people, really understand kind of, what their struggles are, what they're going through, and really kind of help them, along their financial journey.
Yeah. What kind of clients have been some of your favorite clients to work with?
Gosh, I mean, I like, it's such a boilerplate answer, but I really like all of the people that I have been working with. I'll give a couple specific examples, but I
Mhm.
think I think that really helps because most people, that listen to this podcast, that are part of the financial freedom community, are
Mhm.
very like-minded people, right? They're
Yeah.
charitable. They like to give back. They're not selfish. They think about others, and that's very consistent across the board. I really like working with people who, are just getting started and, have some money to invest, but they, just need some help and guidance on creating a plan.
Mhm.
I love working with people who are seasoned corporate executives who have a
Mm.
lot of assets, but are really just trying to, go from the asset gatherer mindset to the cash flow mindset.
Mhm.
A lot of those discussions are really involved around, the abundance versus scarcity mentality,
Yeah.
helping people think through due diligence and risk management, and thinking about, strategic ways to start deploying some of their capital. And I love working with people who, I've got a couple clients who are super smart, very sharp. They're already kind of alternative asset experts.
Mhm.
And they just want somebody to bounce ideas off of. And those conversations
Mm.
can get very technical, which I really enjoy. So it really kind of, goes across the entire spectrum. One thing I will say is, everyone that, we work with has, even if they have stressors in their life, they have positive attitudes. Um, and, it's a very small minority of people, have a lot of self-pity, and people come from different backgrounds, different challenges, but most people know that they have the ability to better their lives. It's in their control. And we're here to, help them design a plan and show them the way and educate them across different investments and asset classes.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's way more fun working with people that are, not as selfish, right? They're not just egotistical type people, which obviously we're not the kind of people that attract those people anyways. Like one of
Right.
our big core values is humble confidence, right? Which means
Hmm.
is that there's humility, but we still know we're the best. you know, you know,
Absolutely.
and that kind of thing. Like we really know that, hey, we're going to do the best thing for you. And when we try people like that, that they aren't like just beating themselves up, although we get those people too. I can tell you that sometimes we do have a psychological game of people that have to overcome insecurities, even around money or outside of money even. And just be able to get those people to still move forward, willing to act. I mean, willing to be coachable and learn. And those are the most fun people to work with. And I think the fun thing with you, with what you do and how you compliment me, and we see this, especially when we do our group calls together, where we're doing like our monthly VIP calls and we're covering different topics. It's always interesting because I like to just, try to get to the point, just bam, 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 and then you were like, okay, Chris, let me pause on that for a minute. Let's slow down. Let's get, into this a little bit more.
Oh, that's funny.
And that's great because sometimes people are like, oh, that was good. I got the concept, but there's something not clicking yet on the how to and how to make that work. And that's when I definitely think that's one of your superpowers as well.
Yeah. One thing I also think I'm pretty good at is helping explain financial concepts at a pretty basic level. I've had to do it pretty much in every role that I've had. And so sometimes a lot of people can get overwhelmed with terminologies and, different, whether we're talking about infinite banking, whole life insurance, talking through, what is a self-directed IRA. I definitely really enjoy the educational part of helping people kind of understand what those terminologies are, and I'm a huge advocate of risk management. So really kind of thinking through at each investment at an individual level, what are the potential returns and what are the potential risks? And then, because every investment has inherent risk, right? So if you are talking to an investment advisor and they say there's no risk in this investment, I would turn and run the other way as fast as possible. Every single investment has risk. Maybe not, investing in treasury bills backed by the government, but who knows what's going to happen there. But pretty much anything with a decent return is going to have an inherent level of risk. So I love educating people on, what are those risks? How do we mitigate them? And it really kind of gives you, as the investor, a lot of confidence to understand, what can go right, what can go wrong, and how do I feel about this investment personally.
Yeah. I agree. That's a really important point. And I like, again, how you keep focusing on that personalized plan, right? Like everybody's different. Therefore, everybody does different investments. And I think that's important for people to remember too, because if we were just trying to push one investment all the time, you'd have to ask yourself, is that what they're really selling? If they're always pushing this one thing, that's probably what they're selling, right? So if it's someone saying, well, this investment could be good for you, but you know what? Because of who you are and the things that you like or how you want your life to look like, let's look at these investments instead. Even if these financially might create a better return, this might give you more happiness or fulfillment. And so I would say really important.
I would agree. And I would say the return is almost secondary to your excitement, and your interest around a specific investment. Whatever excites you, whatever, gets your wheels spinning, I think is, good places to put your money. The investment operators that we connect our clients with, they've obviously all been thoroughly vetted by us. There's still risk involved with investing your money anywhere. But I would say, we're never gonna introduce somebody to an investment that's, extremely speculative. But I think it's really kind of, usually in the first or second call when I'm on with somebody, we do kind of an investing overview, and we talk about different asset classes. And I tell people, what excites you? What do you like? Some people love physical real estate for all the the multitude of benefits you've discussed on prior podcasts. Other people have no interest in it. They want to go more towards very passive investments. Working with different syndicators or fund managers. And I really think it's important that, we establish early, when I work with people, what types of investments do you like? And then really kind of do a deep dive, from an educational perspective on what those investments are.
I agree. Definitely agree with that. So let me ask you this, and I'm going to get kind of just, in my own face through you, I guess, but you had been on the outside looking in with Money Ripples when really is more of just a kind of a one-man show with a few contractors, right? and now you're on the inside looking outward. I mean, with what we do, I mean, is it all just BS? I mean, is it all just hype, or do you really see some real substance here?
I mean, yeah, I don't think I'd be working here if I didn't think there was some real substance.
Mhm.
And I would tell anyone who is a skeptic to really start small, right? So if you
Mm.
have, call it, you know, $500,000 in a brokerage account,
Yeah.
maybe take 30 or 40,000 of that, um, go into an investment that's probably around the minimum in terms of a fund or a syndication, or if you're going to buy an investment property, and start small and see see what you like, see if it's for you, and then the proof is in the pudding, right? So
Mhm.
once you start to get that first, second, third, you know deposit into your checking account, then it becomes real and you can see the power of it. I never want to tell people to do something that makes them too uncomfortable. Obviously, a mindset's a big deal, and it can be tough for people to go from, a traditional financial mindset from,
Mhm.
what we've been taught and what we've observed since we've been, little kids. But I would say start small. The proof is in the pudding, and then, you can scale from there.
Yeah. So one of my last questions for you is this: we recently did a webinar where we talked about some case studies. What have been some of your favorite cases you worked on now in the last year or so as being a coach at Money Ripples? Who are some of your favorite cases and the results that they got, whether it be emotional and or financial?
Yeah, gosh, there's so many. I would say with this particular couple, we help them consolidate a considerable amount of debt,
Hmm.
and just kind of understanding different lines of credit that they can take out, and understanding different interest rates. We were able to help save them over $4,000 a month in debt
Yeah.
payments that they're now able to go from paying off debt to taking that 4,000 and using it to invest, which will supercharge their cash flow.
Yeah.
um, I helped another young couple purchase 5 investment properties
Wow.
within 3 months of working with us. So they went from
Whew.
0 to 5 in 3 months, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then we've helped a few people that have hit their financial freedom goals,
Yeah.
which is awesome to see as well. So there's so
Especially
many
within the
different
first year.
examples. Yeah, within the first year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, so many different examples. And it's really just going to be dependent on you and your particular situation, but there's ways we can pretty much help everybody.
Yeah. I absolutely agree with that. So, well, man, I appreciate your time today. It's always great, not just me getting to know you, but letting our listeners and everybody else get to know you too, and really just who's a part of our team and who's really helping move this vision forward, which is helping 1,000 people or more become financially independent by 2030. And you've already witnessed a few people doing it, just in the last little bit, and there's so many more to go. So, really appreciate your
Yeah.
time here today, Craig.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I know between the Money Ripples team, we have a goal of getting 1,000 people to financial freedom in 10 years. So we're off to the races for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. And everybody else, like if you feel called and you say, I feel compelled, we got to reach out and see if this is for us. We welcome you to do so. Just go to moneyripples.com, go to the contact us page, reach out to us and just say, hey, I'd love to have a cash flow analysis. Or if you're like, hey, I'm shy, I don't want to email anybody. Well, then great. Go do the calculator, the passive income calculator, also on moneyripples.com, and just see what your number is. And there could be, it might surprise you. We've had some people that I'm shocked sometimes that they're embarrassed to even mention it to us, like reach out to us first before we do sometimes, where it's over 100 grand a year in the first year alone. That's incredible. We've had some people that say even as low as like my passive income goal is 4,000 a month, but then the result they get is like 40,000, 50 or 60,000 in the next 12 months. It's like, okay, even that's a lower cash flow goal. You could actually hit that within a year. I mean, that's just mind boggling. So, but again, we like to confirm those numbers, make sure that they are legit. It's not just a calculator error or something like that. So feel free to reach out to us through moneyripples.com. Everybody go and make it a wonderful and prosperous week. We'll see you later.
Hey! Visit us online at moneyripples.com for more resources to help you fix money leaks and get your money working harder for you now.